In 1980, ABBA had their final concert tour ever, 11 live concerts in Japan, all completely sold out. After that, they only did one more concert in 1981, a mini performance of 9 songs for the television special Dick Cavett Meets ABBA. With Voyage, they kind of give us an idea where they would have continued with their live concerts. It's a mixture of now and then. But what I also always wished we had, but certainly never got, was an entire solo live concert from any of the ladies. Today, we are going back in time to 1985, when Frida could have done a live concert tour to promote her second English language solo album, Shine. What if? Hey, so when Agnetha and Frida released their English language solo albums throughout the 1980s, they mainly promoted them by giving interviews and by performing some of the songs on television, usually to playback. But what if they had actually done, each of them individually, a solo concert or even a little tour, for example through Europe? I want to focus on such a potential solo live concert from Frida, also because we have some very nice foundations which give us an idea how a Frida solo concert could have been in the 1980s. By 1985, Frida had released her 2 solo albums in English, Something's Going On and Shine. In those first few years of the 1980s, she actually performed some of her solo songs live on TV. In 1982, Frida performed I Know There's Something Going On French TV. As usual, this performance was to playback, but Frida sang powerfully over the actual playback with some amazing live vocals. In 1984, she performed the song again with some live vocals at the United Nations Gala. On the same show, she also performed ABBA's I Have a Dream. That makes it one of the very few occasions when one of the ladies performed an ABBA song solo and live. In the same year, Frida also performed 2 of her own songs from Shine live on a Swedish TV show. Come to Me, I Am Woman and Heart of the Country. 2 beautiful live performances, definitely the closest and purest solo live performance from one of the ladies. I really wish we had more of these. So what if? What if Frida had done a concert tour in 1985? Which songs could she have performed live in concert? First of all, certainly a selection of her 2 English language solo albums. From Something's Going On, all the singles could have worked well live. Tell Me It's Over, I See Red, the title track, and Here We'll Stay. And I'm sure there could have also been some great spots for Frida's ballads. To Turn the Stone, You Know What I Mean, and maybe even from Shine, the closing track, Comfort Me. From her then most recent album Shine, she could have possibly chosen the 2 songs she did perform on TV, as well as the other singles from the album, certainly the title track, and maybe Twist in the Dark. I also think One Little Lie could have been a great song for a live performance. What about her own composition, Don't Do It? And Björn and Benny's song Slowly, which they wrote for Frida's solo album. I am also a fan of Frida's other self-written song, the B-side That's Tough. It's a 5-minute song and could have been a great extended version in a live setting. But then, what about a selection of ABBA songs? Frida did perform I Have a Dream on that gala. Maybe that song could have been in a Frida solo concert. Fernando, I'm sure, would have been included. Frida did perform the song live on Swedish TV in 1983 as a short snippet, and even in 2015 again, very briefly and a cappella.
There is something in the air that night, the stars are bright.
And as part of a Frida solo concert, I could also very well imagine a solo live performance of ABBA's Me and I, which was one of the songs that ABBA themselves performed on that final mini-concert in 1981. Would she have chosen some of ABBA's early tracks? On that Swedish TV show from 1983, she did perform a snippet of Ring Ring.
Ring, ring, bara du slog en signal. Kom ur spegeln också.
Frida was also wonderful with duets, already early on in Swedish, for example with Lars Berghagen, later with Phil Collins, and even with her late friend Daniel Balavoine, singing Belle. Would Frida have invited him or other artists for a live duet on stage? In 1982, she did a tremendous performance of a Scandinavian song live on TV in duet with Knut Christensen. And finally, would Frida have gone back as far as to her solo albums in Swedish and pick 1 or 2 songs from those? I don't know, but there is another thing in which Frida was exceptionally good in: performing cover versions, making songs from others her very own. She proves it especially on those Swedish solo albums. And in 1981 we got 4 TV shows with Frida, which are probably the closest of having a solo live concert from any of the ladies. On these shows, Frida performed many cover versions, for example Beatles songs, sometimes solo and very often with other artists. And there is one solo track which was always a big favorite of mine: the amazing live performance of Fire and Ice. That is one of my personal highlights from Frida's entire solo legacy, and that one should have definitely been in a potential Frida live concert from 1985. There are so many great possibilities, which makes it even sadder that there never was a solo live concert from any of the ladies. But as I always say, one of our greatest virtues is our imagination, and you guys are always full of wonderful ideas. So now I want to know from you, which songs would you have chosen if Frida had done a concert tour in 1985? Maybe you even have an entire set list. Which would be the opening song? Tell Me It's Over? Maybe Shine? Or Fire and Ice, going into one of her own solo songs? Which would be the closing song of a Frida solo live concert? Which songs would you have chosen? This is all just for fun, so let me know your thoughts and ideas in the comments below. What if Frida had done a concert tour in 1985? Alright, until then, hey do!